Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Awakening Her podcast. How are you doing, friend? My name is Talia Joy. I am so excited you're here. Today, we are diving into a beautiful and healing topic. Yes, just that, healing. And we're going to talk about healing in real time and the misconceptions and what I thought going to work on my stuff, what I thought that meant, what I thought healing was, how it's completely shifted in the last couple years, and also how it becomes an integration. Healing becomes a way of life. It becomes something that you maintain, that you continue to nurture. It's kind of like getting fit or getting healthy. You don't just go to the gym a whole bunch and be like, okay, I'm fit now, and then release everything. It becomes something that you maintain. So we're going to break it down how I am doing the healing work in real time. I'm going to give you practices and understandings and also just help you to know that you're on the right path in this healing journey, because it is messy and sometimes it's easy to go like, am I really on the right path? This is hard. And so it is hard, it's light and it's dark and it's all the things. So we're going to talk about that today, what healing our wounds means, what it means to be a self-healer, and how to bring those tools into our everyday life. But before we jump in, I want to say thank you. I genuinely exhale. I genuinely want to say thank you for being here on this show, for tuning in, for being the type of person that's into this, but also for continuing to show up here on the podcast. I have been sharing a little bit on Instagram lately how I'm struggling with the social media, with the Instagrams, and not because I even don't know what to post or don't know whatever. It's not really that. It's actually that personally, I don't use social media personally. I only have a business account. I haven't used my personal Facebook in probably 3 years or something, because it's a weird place, right? We all have the accounts, most of us do, but it's also a weird place. It's a place that doesn't always feel good, sometimes triggers us. There are pockets of peace and inspiration, but it is kind of like the word that wants to come forward is like cesspool. It's just all the things, and it can be very overwhelming. So these days, I'm kind of, as I show up in this world and make my impact, I'm really considering and always going over how I want to show up, where the best place is to make an impact, to actually change your life, support you, help you on this journey, give you wisdom, give you all the deep stuff that you're looking for, the tools to really, move you along in this journey. And so my book that's almost done is a huge way to do that. On the Path is it's the private podcast, and it's much more focused on the tools and the straight goods and how to continue on this journey, stay on your path when you're triggered, when you're feeling great. And so these ways feel really authentic. And when I go over to Instagram, I'm just like, blah. How do I share myself in a way that feels authentic, but also fits in with that type of, platform? So in all of this, I just want to say that this podcast just feels so good, and On the Path feels so good, and the books that I'm going to write and sort of those ways. I've got a super secret project also in the background that's huge, that feels really good. So I really thank you for being here. This is where I feel most at home. This is where I feel the most authentic. And on Instagram, I'm figuring it out. I'm finding my way to be, a breath of fresh air over there, while also not adding to the overwhelm and adding to the comparison and adding to, life is supposed to be perfect and everything is glittery. And if you don't have this, then you're doing something wrong. And, that's just never what I want to add to. I want to keep it grounded, keep it real, and, really connect with you guys, because I love seeing your faces over there. I love the messages. I love the feedback. It's so beautiful and it's so yummy, but I'm just kind of finding my way over there. I think we all are with social media. It's the thing that's such a mixed bag, yet most of us have accounts, right? So in that, there's no real perfect wrap up to that thought. Just wanted to share that with you. And I thank you for being here, where I definitely feel most at home. And I hope that this show and On the Path makes a huge impact in your life. And if you are not on the path, you can join, or you can check it out below. It is really, as I said, the transformation, the ongoing work, the tools, a couple of episodes per week where we're going through tools and deep dives, monthly challenges. The one coming up starting November 1st is actually going to be energy regulation, how to ground, protect your energy, create resilience so that you can get through the holidays and all the things, feeling grounded, feeling centered, and not, leaking all of your energy as us empaths can do by just even simply going to the grocery store. So that is on the path. And if you want to join, it's truly the place to take it that step further with self-discovery and spiritual growth, creating the life that you are meant for. So with that, I am ready to dive into today's topic. Grab your water, grab your coffee, grab your chai and your pumpkin spice, and let's dive in. Hey, beautiful soul. Welcome to the Awakening Her podcast. I am so grateful that you've been led here, and I'm so excited for you that you're answering the call to manifest more magic in your life. My name is Talia Joy, and I am committed to showing you exactly how to manifest more excitement, ease, success, abundance, confidence, love, and anything else you've been craving. So if you're ready to go on a magical journey of spiritual and self-growth to manifest the life you're meant for, we are now besties. Let's dive in. Okay, I want to take a moment to define what healing truly means to me. And it's not going to be wrapped up in one pretty sentence because it's more dynamic than I ever realized. When I realized I had trauma, I had stuff. When I started realizing that my patterns in an eating disorder and addiction and a compulsion to self-destruct, basically, when I realized that that was based in something deeper, I immediately thought, oh, geez, I'm going to have to go and dissect everything. I've already been to years and years of therapy. And, if there's more, it just seemed daunting. And how do you even do that? Right. So over the last couple years, I have gone on a much deeper healing journey. I've worked with two different beautiful mentors regarding inner child healing, and they both had different perspectives, different tools, and it's been really beautiful. And what has come out of that is a much different and even easier perspective on healing. So healing is not easy. When I say that, it's not like, oh, tickety boo, clip your heels together 3 times and you're healed. It is a cycle. It is an understanding. It is an awareness. It's a growth. It's a transformation. It's a shift in perspective. It's a miracle. It's spiritual. It's emotional. It's in the body. It's all of it all at once. So healing is not about what's fixing what is broken. And that's one of the things I thought, oh crap, I have to fix myself. Healing isn't about fixing anything. It's a continuous journey of self-growth and transformation. And I look at, we say wounds, right? Like traumas, wounds. And so I like to look at it actually like wounds. So picture a physical wound, and the longer it's undealt with, the more it's going to seep and ooze and become really, really painful. But as we go through healing, just like a physical wound, it actually turns from an open, oozing wound into a scar. And a scar is still there. It's a memory of what happened, but it doesn't hurt anymore. It doesn't ooze. It's not busting open when you bump it into something. And that's what healing does, is it doesn't take away what you've gone through, obviously. It doesn't remove the story. It just makes it part of your past where you've learned and you've healed. And then you've moved on, and it now doesn't affect you constantly. So healing, as I said, is a cycle, and we're going to dive deeper into the cycles of it in a moment. So it's a transformation. It's about embracing what you've been through, being able to, in some ways, release the stuff that, is causing any kind of dysfunction or the things you want to move past, while also learning and embracing and integrating what you've been through. So when I first started hearing that years ago, I was like, what do you mean integrating your trauma, integrating your shadow, integrating your inner child? Because I thought I had to get rid of my wounds, get rid of my shadow, but it's actually not that at all. It's understanding that we're all light and dark. And the things we've been through do cause us to react in certain ways now, have walls around our heart. It might cause us to self-sabotage or shut down or whatever else. But embracing who we are, knowing ourselves and learning how to give ourselves healing energy and do the healing work ongoing, which is what we're talking about here, that is healing. We're not all of a sudden healed. We don't go to one shaman who lays their hands on us and forever we're healed. I believe things like that can happen, meaning like there are miracles, but I'm just talking about the general healing work. When people say, I had to heal so much, or inner child healing, it's a realization, a shift in perspective, integrating what we've been through, and then moving forward, no longer having it keep us stuck. So healing is self-discovery. It's nurturing our wounds. It's understanding their lessons. It's embracing who we've been and who we're becoming, recognizing that even at the end of your life, you're going to reflect back and go, wow, what a journey. It's not about getting rid of or having shame for what you've done, who you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 25 years ago. We don't need to do that. We actually need to integrate and have love eyes. I'm going to get to it in a moment, but to have love eyes for those versions of ourselves. So when I came out of my eating disorder, and even when I was still in it, I had a lot of shame around having an eating disorder. But now when I look back, I look at the person that I was then, was freaking out inside, didn't love herself, felt abandoned, felt lost and lonely and broken. She felt like she didn't have worth. She hated herself. She was in a self-destructive spiral. So why would I have to feel guilty about that? In fact, I look back on that me, even the one who was sneaky and lied to be in the disorder and was manipulative around the diseases or the addiction or the disorder. I still look at her with so much love, because she was hurting. So as we go forward on the healing work, more like we realize more and more, it's really not about removing anything. It's about transforming and evolving and, moving on from that space, but always looking back and giving ourselves so much love, because you've literally done the best you could with what you've been through, with what you were told, with what you were shown, with what you had been through. And as we grow, we look back and go like, wow, I should not have put that much pressure on my teenage self, my 20s self, my even 30s self. Like I was figuring it out, right? So another aspect of healing is slowing down. And this is something I've recently learned from my newest or most recent mentor. And she taught me that healing is about slowing down. Because when trauma happens, when we are in our shadow or whatever, everything is very fast. So my clients get tripped out when we talk about this because they're like, me too, because that's me as well. Trauma makes us speed up. It makes us numb. It makes us cope. It makes us move on. And so you may find that you do things fast. You wash the dishes fast. You eat fast. You walk fast. You move on. Something happens and you're like, okay, let's figure out what to do. Usually, sometimes that can be channeled into being really productive and all that. But speeding up is actually a heightened active nervous system state, which is fine for when we need to do it. But healing happens when we slow down, when we create space for ourselves. I'm going to get into tangible tools in a few moments of how to do these things. But when we create space for ourselves, when we engage in self-love and we slow down, we become present, we have a slow walk, we chew a little slower, we learn to slow down. And it's not about being, not about not being productive. Yeah, you get it. It's not about not being productive. It's about creating space for our nervous system to slow down. Because probably you've been in a heightened nervous system state for almost your whole life. So that is also healing. So I want to now, that was kind of defining healing. And now I want to talk about the misconception of being healed, as I've kind of mentioned, right? So when I get there, I'll be happy. When I heal my mom's stuff, when I heal my body stuff, basically that tells us that we're broken. And when we're saying like, I need to be healed, I can't manifest money until I heal my money wounds, it's basically a backwards way of saying that I need fixing, I'm broken. That's why healing is more about integration than fixing, because healing is an ongoing process, and you may not uncover the one money block that did the one thing, but looking at it as more of a journey, more of a softening rather than I need to be healed. You don't need to be healed. I want you to really hear this. You don't need to be healed to welcome in money, to welcome in a soulmate, to build the business. The ongoing healing work makes you more magnetic, yes. Softens your resistance, yes. But the idea of being healed, I actually think it doesn't exist. I think that's a human construct where, for me personally, I could say I'm healed out of my eating disorder. I'm no longer in a disorder. I'm no longer obsessed. It's no longer causing me harm or pain in any way. However, loving my body, being in balance with food, learning to listen to my body with intuitive eating. Like that's an ongoing thing. So it's not like I'm healed and we like wipe our hands clean and move on. It again moves into an integration phase. So healing isn't about being done. It's not about embracing the journey and then finishing the journey and like getting your certificate and now you're healed. It's an ongoing path. Most of the beginning work with healing, or as you're actively healing, is about shifting perspective, learning how to give yourself those tools, and then you move on and practice it. So in that, I want you to think about it not as something that you have to get to an end result, but you're learning what healing is. You're gathering tools. You are healing. And you will be healing your whole life. Because also remember, we're not just healing our childhood, stuff happens all the time. You know, you could be going along, you could be in your 40s and life is good, but then something happens. You have a falling out with a friend, or you get let go from a job or something, and stuff comes up. That's why, again, it's always a journey. It's not like we're ever triggerless. It's about creating resilience and momentum, as I was talking about in the previous episode, and about learning how to thrive and learning how to integrate the healing tools as you're, doing life. So you're never essentially healed, you're healing. So let's talk about the phases of healing. And this, you guys, is a teaser into what my entire book is about. It's not just about healing, it's about the process of transformation. So the first phase of healing is an awareness and what I call the initiation. But the awareness phase when it comes to healing is about when you start to recognize that there might be something in you that's bigger than like just how can I make more money? You start realizing like there might be something behind this. You experience pulls, you might have synchronicities. People start talking about the healing work or healing the mom wound or things that you start to go, it's an awareness of there's something else going on here. And before we're in that phase, we're just in like, I'm broken. Why isn't this working? And it's all physical, like, I must not be doing it right. But the awareness starts to come in of like, wait a minute. Why do I feel that I'm unworthy? Why do I self-sabotage? And you start becoming aware that there might be something more. That's a nudge from your soul. That's your higher perspective, your higher path, your guides and angels pulling you into that work. So the next phase is the breakdown. And this is where old beliefs have to break down. Old narratives have to break down. And this is the heavy lifting of the healing work. Because until we realize it, we've been feeling or believing, who am I to make a difference? Or people like me can't do this. Or I'm not worthy of love or showing up for myself. And these beliefs are what are keeping us in the holding pattern. But the beliefs don't just come from nowhere. They come from our stuff. So a lot of us believe we're alone. We believe we're not worthy of being, of showing up for. We believe that people will abandon us. And these are deep things. So in the breakdown, it's where we realize like these things aren't eternally true forever and ever going into the future, but they are what we experienced. And that causes a whole breakdown of like, okay, who am I then? If I'm not my traumas, if I'm not unworthy, like how do I actually find worthiness, find love, find self-love, all that stuff? This is a messy time. This is the goo phase. And this is a lot of it because we're shedding our old skin. It's like the butterfly sheds its old skin to make way of transformation. It's uncomfortable, but it's absolutely essential. And this is where who we were, who we've been, what we've believed, all comes breaking down. And it doesn't have to be like bad or dramatic, but inside us, we're face to face with, do I want to believe I'm unworthy? Do I want to believe I'm small and insignificant? Do I want to believe that just because my mom or dad didn't have time for me, that I am unworthy or that I'm not worth showing up for? Like, this is where our deeper stuff starts to break down. So then the next phase we move into is one that is like surrender or acceptance, and it's accepting where you are. It's seeing where you are and starting to believe that you can be where you are, and that's okay. And that is huge in the healing journey, because the past trauma showed you like you should be someone else, you're not enough, what's wrong with you, you're broken. And now you're kind of just allowing yourself to be, cracks and all, feeling kind of broken, feeling vulnerable, feeling like raw, feeling uncertain. But that acceptance is so much of the healing work, where we kind of just go, okay, it is what it is right now. And I have these things and these dreams and these desires, and this is where I'm currently at, and that's okay. It's a surrender, it's an acceptance of where we are in the journey so that we properly can ground in. And if you want to look forward, and if you have dreams and goals and obviously a rebirth on the other side, a transformation, that's great, but you're also here now. And you can give yourself love right now and acceptance right now and surrender to what is. This also lets go of resistance. Surrender isn't about giving up. It's about lessening resistance and going, okay, here we are. It is what it is. What do I want to believe moving forward? What do I want to be moving forward? So the next phase is in the healing journey. This is just my perspective. There's lots of different ways we can bring in the work and different tools, but the next phase is starting to reparent, as I've talked about on the path. If you remember on the path, that's one of the core tools. It's reparenting. It's a very healing journey. Or we start to give ourselves the love and the nurturing that we've always needed. So when we realize we have abandonment wounds and we feel unlovable, this is where we give ourselves love. This is where we learn how to fill the gaps in what's been missing. This is where we learn to be a self-healer, to give ourselves love, to give ourselves compassion, to give ourselves, to be the cheerleader, to root ourselves on, to build ourselves back up. And that doesn't mean you're alone. It's a very, fine edge, because you are the one you've been waiting for. You are the one here to give yourself the remedy. So one of my wounds was an abandonment wound. So I always felt like people didn't care, they're going to abandon you eventually, that type of thing. When I learned how to never abandon myself, I swear, like worlds collided in the best way, because that was the remedy, the healing I needed. I am no longer going to abandon me. I am the one coming to save myself. And what that does is it actually allows in more space for a healer, a mentor, friends, lovers, people to support you. It doesn't mean you don't need them, but first and foremost, you give yourself what you've been needing. And this is the second half of the bulk of healing. The first is breaking down what you are not, accepting what is, and then starting to build yourself back up into a butterfly. And the last phase I'm going to talk about today is the integration, is the evolution, is the growth. So healing isn't linear. It's circling back to the lessons we've mastered. It's slowing down, giving ourselves space. I'm going to talk about tangible tools in a second, but a huge part of this is ongoing self-compassion, ongoing fueling our own needs or nurturing our own needs, ongoingly knowing that we are worth showing up for, ongoingly literally being the mom or dad you didn't have to yourself. So this is like a huge process, right? But this whole last aspect is integrating and growing and rebirthing and soaring. You've gone from crawling on the ground to flying in the sky. And this is where we start to integrate this stuff. And so, when I was a child, one thing is I was always told that I was too sensitive, right? And so I rejected my sensitivity. But as I started going through the healing journey and going like, no, wait, the belief had to fall that I was too sensitive. I had to surrender and accept who I was. I am sensitive. And now I learn I'm an empath, I'm an HSP, I'm a human design reflector. Like literally, I am sensitive. I've accepted that. So the building back up is the how can we meet your needs? How can we manage your energy? When I go into a room of people, what do I need? Do I need to escape every half an hour and take a breath outside and go back in? Do I need to remind myself that, I'm doing a good job, I'm enough as I am? What do I need? So start giving myself that love and attention that I need. And then that phase 5 is continuing to do that. As the voice comes in going like, you're too sensitive, going like, no, wait, it's a superpower. And I have special needs for myself. I need to ground. I need to protect. I need to come home. I need to create space. I will ongoingly practice that. And that heals the wound of being quote unquote too sensitive, feeling like I don't fit in this world, into I can manage this. I can integrate this. I can stand in the power of being sensitive while also not depleting myself or whatever, right? Learning to live with it, not reject it, not be shamed about it, but actually stand in the power of it, embrace it, live with it, integrate it. So some practical tools to navigate healing, truly slowing down. You're going to resist it and you're going to do it like a couple times, then be like, okay, what's next? But actually slowing down. Practices like deep breathing, spending time in nature, having a meditation, being in silence, slowing down. When you're about to have a hard conversation, even when you're doing something exciting, slowing down, taking a few breaths brings you right back to your center. And it's incredible how pausing for even a moment shifts your entire perspective. Healing is not a race. Slow down. So sometimes when we're unsure, we want to go into fix-it mode. When we're, in our wounds, I know for the first year of my deeper work with healing, I'd be in a trigger and I'd be like, okay, what does this mean? Does this remind me of like my mom when I was a kid and I was trying to decode it? But actually now, when I'm triggered, I slow right down. I put my hand on my heart, and I practice the other stuff we've been talking about. Be in what is. Give myself love. Take a breath, stretch time, be in it, offering yourself a safe space. That is the healing work. Which brings me to my next tool, which is self-compassion practices and self-love practices. So the first tool is slowing down multiple times a day, just taking a breath. Even if you're walking really fast, just take 10 steps slower. It's crazy how healing it feels. And then the second one was self-compassion. So this is where like self-compassion, self-love, self-empathy, self-healing. This is crucial when it comes to healing. Healing and being a human, they're both messy. They're both challenging, and that's okay. So giving yourself the love and compassion and empathy that you would give a friend, a client, a loved one, a family member, slow down, acknowledging your feelings and giving yourself so much love. And I want you to continue to uncover what it means to give yourself self-love, self-care. That's everything from your words, your general tone about yourself, your habits, the way you build yourself up, the way you nurture yourself. These are huge. And the reason why they sound so simple, but the reason why these are the cores or the core of healing is because when trauma happens, number one, our nervous system gets activated and we speed up to survive. And the second is because we didn't get love. So self-compassion is the remedy to a lack of love. So when there was bullying or there was abuse or something, traumatic happened in your family, in your story, all of that ripped away different types of love and security and safety. So we internalize that we're not worth it or that, love is unsteady, life is unsafe, these types of things. So giving yourself self-compassion, self-love is giving yourself the healing remedy, the antidote to the pain. It's love. The antidote to the pain is always love. So we don't need to always psychoanalyze and go back in and talk about how angry we are at our mom or our dad. We need to look at what void is in me because of this. What did I believe about myself? And give ourselves self-compassion. And even now, we don't even have to go into the past. You can actually just look at your life now and say you're building your business and something's not going as planned. Say you feel like in your health, you're going into self-sabotage. You don't feel good about yourself right now. Something's not going right. Self-compassion. You show up kind of bitchy, kind of on edge, kind of snippy. Empathy. You say you're going to do a bunch of stuff today and you don't. Empathy. You feel unworthy or you don't get the promotion, self-love. Those help to heal on the spot. So to simplify, the healing work is giving yourself the love that you didn't have. Giving yourself the safety that you didn't have when you were a kid. Giving yourself the empathy, the compassion, the attention, and the love that you deserve that you may not have had as a kid. You may not have had it at all. You may not have had it consistently. It might have been up and down, or it might have been that your home life was fine, but you were bullied. You were a minority. Something happened to you that made you feel not enough. That's all trauma. Doesn't matter if we call it little t, big T, whatever. They're all equally as significant because what it did is it altered your brain chemistry. It altered your nervous system. And now you come back to giving yourself the love that you didn't have. And if you want to even make it even simpler, you look at literally what happened to you. So if you were bullied, you never bully yourself again. If a parent walked out, you never walk out on yourself ever again. If you were made fun of or felt less than, you build yourself up inside. That is healing. So I hope that this has helped you because this does help us to be more resilient. When triggers come, when feelings of not enoughness come up, we know that we don't have to go analyze and trace it back to the root. The healing actually comes where we take a breath, slow down, and become our own self-healer, become our own coach, rooting us on. It's where we learn how to regulate our energy and regulate our emotions, bring ourselves back with love. And of course, if you feel called, if it keeps coming into your world and you feel called to work with somebody around inner child healing, nervous system, shadow work, do it. I'm not saying you shouldn't go deeper. I'm just sharing with you today how I view and my perspective on healing now that I've been through a few years of it and into the trenches and into the emotions and out of the stuff. And now I look back and I'm like, yeah, healing is a journey of self-love. It's about giving yourself the safety you never had, creating a safe space for yourself to be, whether you're coming in hot, coming in a mess, coming in emotional, coming in feeling great, coming in not feeling great. Either way, you create a safe space for yourself to just be without criticism and judgment and, shame. You don't need that. That's the trauma speaking. That's the devil on the shoulder. But it's time to bring in the light. Because healing is tied to love. It's tied to self-love. That is the most healing frequency of all. So lessening judgment, including or increasing self-compassion. And then those two tools that I want you to practice is number one, slowing down. And number two, anything that gives you self-compassion, self-love, self-care. From a walk to a massage to some loving words to yourself, to reflecting in your journal, all your strengths, what you've been through, what you've learned, how resilient you are, whatever you need to do, self-love, self-empathy, self-compassion, and then slowing down. Those are going to be your most powerful tools when it comes to healing in this chapter. Okay, my love, if this is really resonating with you and you're on this journey of self-growth and transformation, two things. Number one is the Momentum Tribe starting at the beginning of November. This is going to help you to navigate these ongoing tools of healing, of growth, of transformation. And then I also have a couple of spots for one-on-one work right now. If you're looking to really accelerate your growth and you're called to one-on-one work, right now I have the Personal Power Power Pathway, which is one-on-one coaching for 2 months. And it's really focused on cultivating inner power, healing, emotional mastery, of course, looking at your desires and your manifestations as you align with your higher self, with tools, with mentorship, with everything you need to stay on the path of spiritual and self-growth, moving toward your dreams. So we have the Momentum Tribe, which is a small, intimate group focused on moving forward. And then we have the one-on-one coaching. If either one resonates with you, you can check the show notes below. You can always reach out on Instagram or hit reply to any email you've ever received from me, and it will come to my inbox. Okay, sending you lots of love today, and I will see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to the Awakening Her podcast, your go-to for real life manifestation. If you enjoyed the show, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening from. Reviews really help the show. You can also find me after the show on Instagram at Talia Joy Manifestation. And listen, love, I know that you are ready to stop spinning your wheels and hustling and doing a bunch of stuff, and you're ready to make the money you want to make, to feel the way you want to feel. And if this is the case for you, then you are absolutely in the right place. I'm so excited. And if you're ready to jump into the implementation, you can check out On the Path. The link is below. Remember, all manifestation starts on the inside. I'll see you in the next episode.